Sadanandan Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Aya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Prasadanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasadanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Vyasadev Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Tasya Srimad Vangres Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Tasya Srimad Vangres Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की श्री श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की श्री श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नृसिंह देव भगवान की शिला गिरिराज कृष्ण की श्री श्री राधा रमन जी की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की गंगा मई की यमुना मई की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रीला प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की गौर प्रमाण Dear devotees, we will start our Bhagavatam discussion. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudire.
Jayamudire.
Nasta Prayesu Avadresu.
Nashtaprayesu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke.
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishti.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, Appearance of Sri Narada, Text 15. Sa kadachit saraswatya upaspurusya jalam sucihi vivikta eka asina udite ravimandale. Once upon a time, he, as the sun rose, took his morning ablution in the waters of Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate. The river Saraswati is flowing in the Badrikashram area of Himalayas. So the place indicated here is Samyaprasa in Badrikashram, where Sri Vyasadeva is residing. Paravaragya sarusihi kalena vyaktaram hasa yuga dharma patik karama praptam bhuvi yuge yuge. The great sage Vyasadeva saw anomalies and the duties of the millennium. This happens on the earth in different ages due to unseen forces in the course of time. The great sages like Vyasadeva are liberated souls, so therefore they can clearly see past and future. Thus he could see the future anomalies in the Kaliyuga. Accordingly, he made arrangement for the people in general so that they can execute a progressive life in this age, which is full of darkness. The people in general in this age of Kali are too much interested in matter, which is temporary. Because of ignorance, they are unable to evolve with the assets of life and be enlightened in spiritual knowledge. Bhautikānam ca bhāvānam sakti hrāsam ca tatkrutam asradadhanan nisattvan durmedhan rasitayusaha durbhagamsya janan vikshya manir divyena chakyusa sarva varnasramanam yad dadhyhitam amogadruk. Translation. The great sage was fully equipped in knowledge, could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of the age, could also see that the faithless people in general would be reduced in duration of life and would be impatient due to lack of goodness. Thus he contemplated for the welfare of man in all statuses and orders of life. Please repeat. The great sage was fully equipped in knowledge, could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of the age. He could also see the faithless people in general would be reduced in duration of life, would be impatient due to lack of goodness. Thus he contemplated for the welfare of man
for the welfare of man
in all statuses
in all statuses
and orders of life. The unmanifested forces of time are so powerful that they reduce all matter to oblivion in due course. In Kaliyuga, the last millennium of a round of 4 millenniums, the power of all material objects deteriorates by the influence of time. In this age, the duration of material body of the people in general is much reduced, so is the memory. The action of matter has also not so much incentive. The land does not produce food grains in the same proportion as it did in other ages. The cow does not give as much milk as it used to give formerly. The production of vegetables and fruits is less than before. As such, all living beings, both man and animals, do not have sumptuous, nourishing food. Due to want of so many necessities of life, naturally the duration of life is reduced. The memory is short, intelligence is meager, mutual dealings are full of hypocrisy, and so on. The great sage Vyasadeva could see this by his transcendental vision. As an astrologer can see the future fate of a man, or an astronomer can foretell the solar and lunar eclipses, those liberated souls who can see through the scriptures can foretell the future of all mankind. They can see this due to their sharp vision of spiritual attainment. And all such transcendentalists who are naturally devotees of Lord are always eager to render welfare service to the people in general. They are the real friends of people in general, not the so-called public leaders who are unable to see what is going to happen 5 minutes ahead. In this age, the people in general, as well as their so-called leaders, are all unlucky fellows, faithless in spiritual knowledge and influenced by the age of Kali. They are always disturbed by various diseases. For example, in the present day, there are so many TB patients and TB hospitals. But formerly, this was not so because time was not so unfavorable. The fortunate men of this age are always reluctant to give a reception to transcendentalists who are representatives of Vyasadeva. And selfless workers always busy in planning something which may help everyone in all statuses and orders of life. The greatest philanthropists are those transcendentalists who represent the mission of Vyasa, Narada, Madhvacharya, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, Saraswati, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, etc. They're all one and the same. The personalities may be different, but the aim of the mission is one and the same, namely, to deliver the fallen soul back to home, back to Godhead. Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschyata Desatarine Hare Krishna. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dear devotees, the great sage was fully equipped in knowledge, could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration of everything material due to the influence of age of Kali. You may ask, Vyasadev was at a time when Krishna was personally present. So how could he see deterioration? Because he is a Trikalagya. Just like we have the ability to see the present moment, not properly. We also have, at this moment, we can only see my welfare, my selfish interest, how much I get. That is the most of the time we see things like that. And in the past, I go. and think about how I have been cheated by this age, or I have cheated by she, or like such lamentation. And in the future, I want to gain something, hankering. This is all my vision. But where great sages, they have the ability to see thousands of thousands of thousands of years ahead. And hence, they engage themselves to develop methodology by which people after 5,000 years ago, after 5,000 years, after 10,000 years, after 1 lakh years, after 4 lakh years, they can be delivered. That is why they are sages. Sages means those who are compassionate. I was hearing Prabhupada in the morning lecture today, and Prabhupada was telling those who are dheera, they know that the worst case scenario is that I would die, and in death, I'll get another dress. And that dress can be in heavenly planet, can be in hellish planet, according to the consciousness. And devotees who are engaged in Krishna's service, they are very sure of their destination as Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna's abode. So they are quite peaceful. They are not disturbed. If throughout my life I have only worked for one interest, that is to please Krishna, then at the time of death I will remain very peaceful. If I have done things only for my sense gratification, doesn't matter whether I have put on tilak or I am speaking for last 30 years in Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or I am chanting, doesn't matter. But as long as I am doing all those things to satisfy me, not Krishna, obviously at the time of death I'll be most disturbed because I have not done anything to please Krishna. We saw that how Ajamila, he, out of helplessness, utter helplessness, he called out his son Narayana. It's like by mistake he did it. And Vishnudutas came forward and fought on behalf of him. On behalf of him. So this is the case with a person who unknowingly chanting Krishna's name, Narayana. And what will happen to those who are constantly engaged only in one thing, that is to glorify Krishna? They must be very extraordinary, isn't it? Now, you see, in this brilliant purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, why our age duration have been curtailed? Because we don't get that quality food that earlier people were getting. Land is not producing same nourishing food earlier, now it is producing. Also, Prabhupada is saying that the air and water have been so polluted, so people cannot live for a longer duration of life because finally our body is nourished by earth, water, air, fire, ether, and these elements are in deterioration. And hence we cannot live even if we want. Huh? Like, during this time in my house, one after another is getting sick. I became sick, my wife became sick, my children became sick, Madhusudan Mukund became sick, Tarun became sick, Subhendu became sick, his wife Anu also became sick. It's a chain reaction going on. So this would not happen in other yugas. It will not happen, this kind of thing. The very vitality is taken away from you in the form of disease in this age. Imagine if you are a diabetic. It's a hellish life. Believe me, if you are a diabetic, I am a diabetic and I know. What a hellish life. It's an absolute hellish life. One moment you become a diabetic. And takes a lot of energy of yours. So this is a natural phenomenon in this Kaliyuga. Although Kaliyuga is so bad in terms of bodily nourishment, the duration of life, memory, Prabhupada is saying that, and the hypocrisy would be too much, and so when all these are true, in Bhagavatam, you will see Sukadeva Goswami, and 12th chapter is glorifying Kali. Even he's saying that sages all over the universe, they glorify Kali Yuga. Why? Because it's a very short duration. And only thing you have to do in this age is incessantly chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Whoever is the fortunate soul, he's chanting Krishna's name incessantly. He has made Sankirtan as his heart and soul. That person is easily going back to Krishna Loka. That is why many demigods, many denizens, they are in a queue to come to this world and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And it is a fact. We are seeing that. So, Vyasadev was conscientious of our plight. And hence, he contemplated the welfare of men in all statuses and orders of life. There are 4 classes of people: intellectual, business, administrative, and labor class, student life, householder life, retired life, and sannyas life. So he contemplated what is the best he could do. And this is the biggest philanthropic work, like Prabhupada is saying, who are the biggest philanthropists? And as Prabhupada is enumerating, he is brilliant. Prabhupada is brilliant here. He says that mission of Vyasa is a real philanthropist. Imagine it, Vyasa would not have been a philanthropist, then we would not have got Bhagavad Gita in our hand, Bhagavatam in our hand. For that matter, any Vedic literature we would not have in our hand. So greatest philanthropist is Vyasa, his spiritual master Narada, his disciple, Vyasadev's disciple, Madhvacharya. Sri Krishna as Yuga Avatara, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, they are the same personalities. In the sense, they have the same mission. The mission is to attract conditioned souls like us back to Godhead. Many times people ask, why did we come here? This is a very, very popular question. Why we are here? And what guarantee is that we will be not here again? Nobody says that suppose you are sick. You don't say, why I became sick? Nobody asks that question, right? Everybody asks that question, how I will become? How I'll become? Cure. Not only that, they think like that, and they also know, even if they become cured, they may become diseased again and again and again. So suppose you think that you will become diseased again and again, will you not take medicine? You will take medicine. So why hypocrisy? Why this hypocritical question? Why did we fall into this material world? And what guarantee is that we will not fall again? So in this matter, we do not want to accept what Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying, Kipram bhavati dharmatma saswat santi nigachati kaunteya pratijanihi namay bhakta pranasyati. So Krishna is personally saying, Kipram bhavati dharmatma. Those who are continuously engaged in chanting Krishna's name, performing devotional service, glorifying the Lord, making people attracted to Krishna. What is the best thing that happened into my life? If you ask me, the best thing happened to my life is when Krishna sir attracted me to Krishna. And that was my first Vyasa offering to Rompad Maharaj. My first sentence was, Maharaj, I'm really grateful to Krishna Smarana Prabhu that he made me attracted to Krishna. That's all. That is all we have been, our job is to make people to get attracted to Guru and Krishna. If we get attracted to Krishna, rest is assured. Rest is assured. And Krishna will put us in varieties of situations. We have to pass the test. That is another issue. Then let's not worry about that. Just like suppose you take medicine, doesn't mean that you get immediately cured. You'll have many reactions, then you have to take another medicine, you may have to go to surgery, you may have to do this, you have to move that, and a lot of things, and after that, again there can be a possibility of recurring. But in this case, Krishna is saying, Saswat Santi Nigachati. Anybody who gets attracted to Krishna, he dwells in eternal peace. And what he does? Krishna is not saying, he's saying to Arjuna, you pratijani, you promise, Arjuna, name bhakta pranasyati. My devotees will never perish, never perish, never perish. Now you may say, oh, Krishna is saying Who knows? So doubting Thomas, they can neither be peaceful in this world nor in the future world. Doubting Thomas will never be peaceful. So if we have similar attitude like doubting Thomas, then I will go and crucify Jesus. And then I will wait for resurrection. But this is not a very good idea. When Krishna is saying, Name Bhakta Pranasyati, I should be assured. Yes, if I am dedicatedly 100% disposed to Krishna's shelter, I will not be annihilated. I will not be destroyed. That assurance should be natural. That is why Krishna consciousness is science, because it's self-evident. I was listening, one of my colleagues, his mother, when the time of departure came. So I had told him that you should make sure your mother is continuously hearing Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So I had given this machine, Prabhupada Bhajan machine, and he used to play. And this colleague of mine, they are not very big devotees or anything, they are just superficial. But when time of death came, my colleague, whose son, was narrating what he saw. He saw suddenly his mother became very fearless. Her eyes became very big. And he could feel that his mother somehow has gained now the peace. She's in absolute peace. And finally, when she left the body, she left through her eyes. Eyes became big, and she left her body. So if that is true, simply placing Prabhupada Bhajan in somebody's deathbed, you can imagine, to all of you, if you dedicatedly serve Krishna, what will happen? And this Krishna consciousness is not something that is being speculated. Prabhupada was telling yesterday in the lecture I was hearing yesterday. He was telling that you call our literature as mythology. But what about you? You said, I think, I imagine, I speculate. At least we have something. Krishna is saying that Name Bhakta Pranasyati. This is not my writing, right? We have some evidence at least. What you people have? You people have no evidence. You are absolutely ignorant. So when Vyasadev is able to see the misfortune of the Kaliyuga and is able to meditate on the welfare of the people, because he says, contemplated for the welfare of men in all statuses and orders of life. And this is equal to the description that how Vyasadeva will compile all Vedic literature and everything, including Itihasa, Purana. So, and that is how. It's a great literary work. What Vyasadeva did, nobody can, because normally in Vedic tradition, nobody writes. Writing was not a habit. Writing became a habit, started when after Vyasadeva started compiling. Otherwise, there is no writing. Okay. Now it is so easy, we go to the keyboard and type. Wow, we do all this. But imagine those days. Even I have seen when in my house somebody is born and then the specific Brahmin, I think his name is Sitaram Pandit. Sitaram Pandit. I think Sitaram Pandit also made my horoscope chart. So he will come, and I have seen he will have that needle kind of a pen in which he would start writing in a palm leaf. It is very, very tough for them. Just one letter to write, they have to press against that palm leaf and they have to write it. It's not so easy. So, and Vyasadeva has to undertake the composition of so many vast literature just for the welfare of the people of the world in all statuses and all uh, ashramas, orders of life. This is the greatness of Vyasadeva. I will now stop here. I will take 2 minutes break. In the meantime, you can place your question in the chat box. You can also play Prabhupada Kirtan. I will come in 2 minutes. What does annihilation means? Annihilation means destruction. Soul cannot be annihilated, means soul cannot be destroyed. In this world, everything can be annihilated, destroyed. So, इवनिंग का तो इवनिंग में करेंगे. He saw that the sacrifices mentioned in Vedas were means by which people's occupation could be purified. To simplify the process, he divided one Veda into four in order to expand them among men. Formerly, there was only one Veda, Yajur Veda. The four divisions of sacrifices were there specifically mentioned. To make them more easily comfortable, the Veda was divided into four divisions of sacrifices, just to purify the occupational service of four orders. Above four Vedas, namely Rig, Yajur, Sham, Atharva, there are Puranas, Mahabharatas, Samhitas, etc., which are known as fifth Veda. Sri Vyasadeva and his many disciples were all historical personalities, and they were very kind and sympathetic toward the fallen souls of this age of Kali. As such, the Puranas and Mahabharatas were made from related historical facts which explain the teachings of four Vedas. There is no point in doubting the authorities of Puranas and Mahabharata as part and parcel of Vedas. In the Chandogya Upanishad, the Puranas and Mahabharata, generally known as histories, are mentioned as fifth Veda. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, that is the way of ascertaining the respective values of the revealed scripture. The four divisions of the original sources of knowledge, the Vedas, were made separately. But the historical facts and authentic stories mentioned in Puranas are called fifth Veda. The Vedas were compiled by Vyasadeva. We have Samveda. In Samveda, there is a raga called Megha Malhara. Until 500 years back, people could sing that song, Megha Malhara, and can bring rain. But you can imagine in 500 years, so much of pollution. I can give you guarantee there is not a single soul who is existing in this world now who can sing Megha Malhara and bring cloud and rain. Not possible. That is how quickly the Vedas have become obsolete. If you go back 3rd century, 4th century, 5th century, still the Brahmins were so powerful that they could do things using Veda that others could not do. And they had very powerful influence over the society. Why Brahmins were so, we have seen how Vasishtha and Vishwamitra, they fought. It is not that Vishwamitra is fighting. Vishwamitra is happily spending his time in his ashram. Vasishtha. And suddenly, Vishwamitra came along with his huge platoon of soldiers. And Vasishtha said, please stay here for some time. I am going to feed all of you nicely. And Jai Lakshmi Narsingh Bhagwan ki jai. And Vishwamitra said, why, you are a poor fellow, why we are going to tax you? be happy. You allow us. But, Vasishtha wanted to treat Vishwamitra. And he said, no, no, allow us. And then he fed varieties of items, so opulently. Not only Vishwamitra, all the thing that became the news for him. By serving Vishwamitra, he entered into trouble. Vishwamitra said, hey, how could you do that? And then he realized, Kamadhenu is there. He says, king owns everything. So this Kamadhenu is mine. Vishwamitra said, Vasishtha would say, no, please don't take it. It is mine. And Kamadhenu, when they dragged Kamadhenu, then Vishwamitra, Kamadhenu would look at Vasishtha and said, what are you doing? What kind of master you are? I was in your shelter and you are allowing me to go to, dragged by this idiot. And then Vasishtha is saying, you are Kamadhenu, so you are Chamatkari. And then there are thousands of soldiers. These are all conscious machines. These thousands of soldiers, they came out from the body of Kamadhenu, and they completely destroyed the platoon of Vishwamitra, and Vishwamitra suddenly got a shock of his life. Of course, this is a power of a Brahmana in another age, right? Even in this Kaliyuga, the Brahmanas were very powerful. Our kings were, I remember in Odisha, the Utkala king, they would come and take the Brahmins from Kanauj. Kanauj is, we are now in Kanpur, and Kanauj is here from 50-60 kilometers. And from here, they will take the Brahmins and we will perform Ashwamedha Yajna in Varavati, in Cuttack. Okay? So that means they certainly demonstrated power of Veda. Brahmins were able to demonstrate power of Vedas. But the time deteriorated them so much that these Brahmins completely became now degraded. So by 7th century, when Adi Shankaracharya came, he has revived the Brahmanism again. They were so deteriorated. Of course, Brahmins were highly deteriorated before Buddha also. Before Lord Buddha, Brahmins were eating flesh in the name of sacrifice. But still there are Brahmins, they are very powerful. So Vedas were written different. Vedas were written for Brahmins, Upanishads were written for Brahmins, then Puranas were written for Vaishyas, Sudras, women. Mahabharata was written for Vaishya, Sudra and women. So in our traditional thing, the administrators and the Brahmanas, they must study Vedas. That's why Rajarshi and Maharshi. A Brahmana is called Maharshi and a Raja is called Rajarshi because they all studied Vedas. This is the distinction between traditional Vedic culture and the current so-called culture. We don't have a culture now anyway. Brahmarshi, those who are already realized. Brahmarshi. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na Saraswati na Kankiti. So this was, Brahmins were very powerful. Very powerful. Once Rasaraj Prabhu was telling, in Trichirapalli, there is a Kaveri river, and on the breeze, Kaveri breeze, he was walking and chanting his rounds. And it was evening time. And then he felt someone is chasing him. But he was so immersed in chanting because he has to finish certain rounds, he was not taking notice. And then finally he realized, something shadow kind of thing has vanished. And then when he finished his rounds, he was about to leave. This fellow, as a dark shadow, came from the behind. And then fell flat in front of him. I said, what happened to you? They said, welcome to my house. I said, what is that? Today, from Kaveri, I have collected big fish in my house. And I want you to sacrifice them so that we can have nice dinner today. So that means in those, even, and this is only 30, 40 years back, people realize a Brahmin can sanctify even your fish. We are saying no fish eating, no meat eating, no egg. But Brahmins were so powerful that they could sanctify even your fish, your egg, your meat. And it was not joke, they were capable of. That means Rasaraj Prabhu was telling they are real Sudras. Although they wanted to eat fish, but they wanted that to be sanctified. It is not like, you go to the slaughterhouse and just purchase and eat. That is worse than Sudra. That is below dignity of Vedic culture. Below dignity of Vedic culture. Okay, I think that we should stop here, 9:30. Any question? Any other question? Except whether soul, what is meaning of annihilation? Akhay Naik, when we start our sadhana bhakti, we mostly do things because it gives happiness to us. In the initial stage, it is very difficult to imbibe this mood that I should do everything to please Krishna. Even while doing services, we prefer those services which we enjoy more. How to overcome this mentality, imbibe the mood that I should do everything as service to Krishna. My happiness should not be very important. That is why we should always ask, who was Anil? Where is Anil? Anil कहाँ पे है?
Sir, this exam वगैरह है.
अच्छा. So this Anil Krishna Yadav, he came yesterday. It's almost like, your question. He said that I'm not peaceful.
एक भाई था, कुछ आपने बताया नहीं क्यों मेरे को?
And when he said that I'm not peaceful, I said that means there is an issue. And the issue is that it is guaranteed if I am pleasing Krishna, I will be peaceful. If I am not pleasing Krishna, I will never be peaceful. And then I told him that you should be very peaceful. You are a student. Being a student, all that you have to do is that you have to show your daily sadhana chart and get certified by the teacher. As long as teacher is telling you, "Are you are doing all right," you feel very happy. It's so easy. So this, we have to recognize that we are not peaceful because mind is our boss. As long as mind is our master, how can ever a prostitute be happy? Mukunda Madhusudan was telling the other day that when Balavacharya told Mahaprabhu that I found fault in the commentary of Sridhar Swami, Mahaprabhu's answer was that a person who doesn't accept Sridhar Swami's tika, that means he doesn't have a Swami. When you are not having a master, that means you are like a prostitute. And we have to recognize this, my dear friends. As long as our mind, as long as we allow our mind to be our boss, hopeless situation. Nobody can become happy, neither I nor you. Okay. What does annihilation mean when we say demons are annihilated? I have explained that already. That's all? Where? This answer I have given already. This question I have answered already. I have already told. Bapi. In this age, we are affected by so many diseases. So why we are not practice everyday yoga or pranayama, just like others? Regulation in Vaishnava. Arey Baba, time is so short. We have no time. Let me tell you that I don't know. I am as a diabetic. Doctor has told me to do certain thing in the morning, this and that, and I am not able to do. I don't have time for that. I have to chant my rounds. I have to do Abhishekam, and then I have to come and speak Bhagavatam. Where is time? I don't think that we have a. And I can tell you, if you are doing enthusiastic Sankirtan, dancing, and I don't think that you will have any disease as such. Chiranjit Rao, was Kamadhenu a cow? Yes, Kamadhenu is a cow. Sam Murari Das, why people, even devotees, are constantly filled with anxiety, fear, insecurity? Although now we know the nature of Kaliyuga, is it not the fault of Kaliyuga, not us? Yeah, Kaliyuga will make you full of anxiety, fear, and insecurity. But then as a devotee, you are supposed to take shelter of Krishna. You are supposed to take shelter of Daivihi Mahatmanastu Mam Partha, Daivim Prakriti Masrita. So anybody who takes shelter of Krishna should be naturally peaceful. The same question again and again. So if devotees, we don't take, we have a superficial surrender to Krishna. But if people have absolute surrender to Krishna, then I don't think these things will be, Kaliyuga will ever touch them. No, Kaliyuga will not touch people, those who are completely, fully surrendered at their heart. Hare Krishna, sir, as Brahma is the original creature born out of the energy of Supreme Lord, then from Brahma, 4 Kumaras, 7 great sages, 14 Manus are manifested. Please tell what are the duties performed by these Kumaras, 7 sages, 14 Manus. Kumaras, they are giving always divine knowledge. Kumaras are expert in Brahma Jnana, in the knowledge of the absolute truth. And they continuously speak about that. That is Kumaras. Manus, they are in charge of guiding the human society in the path of Dharma. Okay. And saptarshis are there for invoking the principles of dharma, austerity, penance. They set the ideal examples of saptarshis. They are always in meditation. The saptarshis mostly they are in also these 7 saptarshis. They are mostly freed from Ahara, Bhaya, Nidra, Maituna. They are not affected by hunger, fatigue, sleep, or sexual desire. And they are setting guidelines for others how we can also become freed from that. Meghana Sarma, when I refuse to eat anything offered in my office, my colleagues take it otherwise and try to defame in one or other. Please tell how to deal with this situation. Normally, if they do not respect you, your way of life, they have no right. No right. Suppose, at least, I was, when I was in Germany, we had a researcher in the lab. Later he became a diplomat in German government. And he was telling his experience, this, because most of the Germans, they smoke. And he was telling that he abhors very much the smoking. So he cannot withstand the smokers. It is not possible. And suppose because you are not able to withstand the smokers, and still you should satisfy the ego of the smoker. Oh, if I'm not able, I'm not with the smokers, then they will feel hurt. This is ridiculous. This kind of argument is. So he said that I have my right. Similarly, eating, mating, sleeping, depending, at least you have a personal choice, you have a right. You cannot simply force whatever you want to. But normally, I don't know what kind of association you have, because I have been associating with the TCS, and there people respect. People very much respect. They very much respect. In fact, this COVID came, but otherwise they had a plan to arrange a session for me to speak on Krishna or Bhagavad Gita. They had many plans. The HRD had Hari Menon. He had a big plan. And, we had a very good discussion. So I think you have to remain very polite. Say, I don't like this. I really don't eat outside. Sometimes you can tell lie. Doctor has told me not to eat. Something you have to, because yes, while we politely refuse, we also must, if we can do something. I was in UK and nobody forced anything upon me. And they were horrible, they were meat eaters, they were what is it called? Drunkards. They will drink, in celebration, they will drink like anything. And I didn't do any one of those things, and nobody complained. They all wanted me to continue, and they were very happy with me. I only resigned from UK. So yes, you have to learn. You have to pray to Krishna, and yes, we have to politely say that I don't eat outside. I have a restricted diet. Please forgive me. like that. Premraj Kala. Someone may argue that Ajamila delivered just by remembering Narayan at the time of death. Then why need to be serious in process of Krishna consciousness now? We can simply remember Krishna at that time. Everybody is not Ajamila. Ajamila, he remembered because he had already a lot of Sukriti, not only in this life but in the previous life. And so if somebody is adamant, he wants to take risk, fine. Such people normally you can't convince. Those who say, okay, there are so many, try to first understand, there are so many out there, they are very much interested in Krishna consciousness. Let me tell you very frankly, out there are so many we are not able to take care of. So why we should be worried about such people who are flimsy, who are whimsical? Prabhupada used to tell, in the battlefield, those who are almost in ICU situation, doctors completely neglect them. Doctors only take care of those who are, who can be saved. Chiranjit Roy, when we can say Krishna is controlling our senses, when you have surrendered to him fully, when you follow the instructions of your teacher. 2.72 Prabhupada translates Brahma Nirvanam as entering into kingdom of God. What is the difference between Brahma Nirvanam and impersonal liberation? Impersonal liberation is merging into the Brahma Jyoti. And Brahma Nirvanam is entering into kingdom of God. That means you are accepting service to Krishna. Service means love to Krishna. Next. Abhishek Panchal. Abhishek Panchal is here? And he has asked question, how to cultivate surrender to Guru and Krishna when we have our own material desires? Now, you express your material desires to Guru and Krishna and Guru, they know how to do heart surgery, open heart surgery. Don't worry about that. What does it mean by consciousness of an animal is higher than that of plant? Because both do not have the capacity to inquire about the truth. The developed consciousness means they have the animals have better ability to feel, they can move around. I am not very good at in all this, but animal cognition and plant cognition, people have made some distinction. And particularly in animal cognition, you see, there are animals, there was a saint who was telling that during tsunami, when devastated South India, in South India almost like thousands of people were killed. Even Ikkar, Kalpakam, there are so many scientists are also killed. They were swept by the wave. But he was telling not a single animal were killed in tsunami. You know why? Because they could figure out tsunami is coming. So they have vanished from the sea beach. They have vanished from the sea beach. Okay? Earlier time, the kings, they were able to use pigeons, lizards in spying. Lizards can be used in spying. Pigeons can be used in spying.
Lizard spying?
These are all signs. Because lizards, they live many hundred years. They have very long life, lizards. लोग थे ऐसे
वहाँ लोग बागमंडल गए थे, वहाँ लोग बागमंडलेश्वर टेम्पल था, उधर पूरा ये छिपकली का जो स्क्रिप्चर है
हाँ,
वो टेम्पल में पूरा लिखा हुआ था दीवार में खोद के।
अच्छा अच्छा,
वो जो गाइड हमें लेके गया था वो दिखाता था।
हाँ,
ये देखो इधर ये ऐसे।
yeah. Lizards were used. Lizards were very much used in spying work. हैं? समझ में आया ना अभी? हैं? क्या क्वेश्चन है?
How to improve our chanting?
Please join. How to improve our chanting? Please join our chanting session. My dear friend, we are doing that. We are at your service. Please cooperate with us. Every day at 8 o'clock, we are doing chanting session. Please join that. 8 o'clock in the evening. 8 o'clock in the evening. Okay, so 9:50 we should stop. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्रीला गिरिराज कृष्ण की, श्री श्री राधा रमन जी की, गौर प्रमानंदे हरि हरि।